Yo, what's going on, my Chicago bros? Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to give you the best updated pro settings in 2024 from yours truly, the Chicago bro. Today we're going to be going through every setting, whether it comes to free play, camera settings, controls. You guys can copy or tweak, adjust your personal preference on what you think is best, but I'm going to be giving you guys the baseline on what I think you guys should be using to help yourself improve and get to that next rank, you know what I'm saying? So right off, as you guys can see, I am in free play. I'm on the new free play map, but if you go to settings, for training, you have game speed. Obviously, you want it 100%, but if you really want to feel cheeky, if your car is feeling a little bit slow, if you're feeling a little bit lackluster, you can lower this, and as you can see, the game will get a little bit slower. I'll lower it all the way so y'all can see it, and after playing like this for a little bit, your car obviously will feel faster. But again, I wouldn't rely on this because this can make you feel super inconsistent, and you're gonna feel like you're gonna have to rely on this, which is just really bad. And I feel like it's gonna be really hard to develop consistency with it. So that's why I don't recommend it. Every now and then again isn't terrible. But yeah, I like to keep that on 100. Disable goal reset. This is basically just as it says. If you turn this on, then when you score, you won't reset and see a replay of the goal. Boost options unlimited. I use unlimited. You could use standard. If you use this, I would. It's usually not as fun because the fun part about free play is being able to, just fly around with a limited boost and do whatever you want. But if you find yourself struggling with boost management or just maybe missing boost, then you could try and go for some plays, go up the wall, go for a solo play, hit the ball around, and then try and manage your boost a little bit better. So that way, I only have 54 boost here. I make sure I make a play just like that. You feel me? So yeah, that is for the free play settings. But yeah, I like unlimited. It's just fun. But if you find yourself struggling with boost management, go ahead and put that standard on. It'll help you game out. For gameplay, again, this is going to be nothing really too basic. Just vertical, no cross-platform play. I don't want to play any console players. Sorry to my console players out there. High default. Again, all this stuff is kind of basic. But let's get into the camera. Obviously you want to customize your camera. You don't want to be stuck on the default one RocketLeague gives you. You're just hindering yourself. So for mine, what everyone basically does is field of view 110, just zooms it out as much as possible. Looks super nice. Distance 270. This is perfect because for a lot of players, some players obviously use closer, some use not really many use farther, but obviously you can go 230. But look how, I don't know, you're this close to your car, it feels like your depth perception might not be as good, or you can't see as much of the field. But I feel like a lot of the pros like 270 because that perfect middle ground of being close to your car but still being a little bit zoomed out so you can see everything around you and look super clean. Up next, you have the height. Now this is what I will say. This guy is super personal preference. I would recommend trying different stuff out and seeing what you like. I have transitioned to 90 recently, 90 -5 to be honest, because of the Tira. So I used to be on 100 -3, which is like Zen, and what a lot of pros use is 100 -3. So again, this is all just personal preference. You guys should mess around, play with different settings and see what you think you like best, right? But 90 -5, you're definitely closer to the ground when you have 90 camera height, but that -5 kind of offsets it, so it feels more like 100 -3. But again, I don't really want to go too deep into this. You don't want to be too on top of your car or too under it, so this feels perfectly level for me and for a lot of pros. So you just want to tweak with those camera settings, like your height, and again, now I'll show you your height, your angle. That's y'all's choice. And for stiffness, again, some people can go super high, but it feels really weird if you're super high because your car's really moving, you go supersonic. So it's hard to justify that difference on when you're slower compared to when you're faster. And then if you're too far zoomed out, right, if you go all the way to 0, it feels like you're not even in control of your car. Your car's a little toy. It's like, what is going on? My car is so flimsy and awkward. So that's why 0.4 feels, I use 0.45. It feels super good, just like in that middle. And yeah. So your swivel speed is going to be your right stick. I use 4.2 because if you know, you know. But it is your right stick, so how you look around. If you guys don't know, your right stick helps you look around the field like free cam. And it's super important for competitive and if you're just trying to get better, because say you have a guy behind you, if you're able to, either click in to look behind or use your left stick to check where he's at to make sure you're not getting bumped or see where everybody else is on the field, you'll have a better idea of what to do in the play and make a better play because of it. So if you know someone's going to be chasing you, then you might want to just try and stay alive and avoid them, so that way your team doesn't get left without a man. Or if you see someone, if you look to your right, you might be able to even see your teammate and see, oh, I got space on my right, my teammate's over there, let me hit him with a pass, So the right stick is super important. Again, it's not something you'll just learn instantly, but it's stuff you can practice. And the higher you go with the swivel speed, just the faster it will be when you press to the right or left, all that down, up. So 4.2, good middle ground. And for next, we have the transition speed. I use 1.2. I think I'm on the slower end. A lot of pros use maybe 1.3, 1.4. And even some pros use 2. I don't know how. I think I don't know how it doesn't give you a headache because it just snaps to the ball cam. So if you're playing normally and this keeps happening, it kind of just throws you off and makes my head hurt. So nothing really too detailed there. That's personal preference. If you like 2, that's all you. But I like 1.2. It's just nice middle. It's obviously faster than the slowest version, but it still has a nice little rotating factor. So it feels like I'm not just snapping and my eyes are and my head's getting hurt by it. But yeah, up next we have the controls. I'll actually start with the sensitivities first. If you guys did not know, I used to be a super high sense player. I used to play on 3.5 with around 0.03 controller dead zone, and dodge dead zone was around the same. But steering sense, it's very, very basic. Controls your left stick steering sensitivity, so how far you go when steering. So the higher it's going to be more sensitive. Same with aerial. But like I said, I used to be super high, and I don't think it's bad to be super high. But I do believe if you can be more comfortable on lower, I feel like you're going to be a lot more consistent. And the reason why I switched from 3.5 to 2 was because of that consistency. I felt like mechanics-wise, it was either super high or super low for my gameplay. So I felt like if I switched to lower, and 2 is not even that low, but a lot of players use 1.3. But 2 for me is low, and it feels really good. But I feel like my mechanics have definitely gotten more consistent, and my gameplay has gotten more consistent. That's what I was shooting for. So aerial and steering, you can adjust either. I recommend both being on the same number, but obviously if you want your aerial to be faster, that's perfectly fine. Again, everything is just preference. Up next, controller dead zone. Controls how far your stick must move. So the lower this is, the less you're gonna have to push it to the side. Now I think 0.06 or 0.05, 0.06 is the best, because anything lower, you're very likely to get stick drift, which is super annoying. And when you have stick drift, your car's just gonna start steering to the left by its own, and you're gonna have to get a new controller. You don't want to do that. So yeah. And then for the dodge dead zone, controls how far your stick must move from the center dodge to double jump. So the lower this number is, the more likely you are going to be backflip. So say you are trying to fast aerial and your dodge dead zone is super low, you're going to be backflipping, because if you press X fast enough, it's super sensitive and you're just going to end up backflipping. And obviously it goes vice versa to the right. If you move it super far right, there's going to be times where you might want to flip and you might just double jump. So again, this is preference. Find your range. I really like 0.62. It works for me. But yeah, all this is disabled, toggle. This stuff doesn't really matter. Yeah, for the controls, I like to keep everything super basic, almost default, except when you get down to the power slide, instead of having it on square and having a, what do they call it? Claw, which is super uncomfortable and honestly just seems like hand problems for the rest of your life. I move it to L1, so you're just holding controller basically normally, at least normal for me. And same with the air roll, so that way you have 2 buttons, or 2 purposes on 1 button. And obviously, I can't drift in the air, so I can just air roll, and then, they perform 2 different actions when you're on the ground and when you're in the air. So it's a nice little double whammy, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You got ball cam on triangle, rear view, all this normal stuff. And then if you guys want to use the directional air roll, which is super popular nowadays, I'd recommend learning it. I have mine on the other bumper, so again, nothing too crazy, just super simple. But yeah, you put it on whatever button you want. You put it on L2, put it on square if you prefer claw. Again, it's all preference. But I have mine on R1, and I will say directional air roll is super helpful and it's super nice, but it's gonna come with practice. You guys are not gonna be able to just throw this on and learn it. Not even pros do. It's gonna take practice of working on it in free play, going to rings maps, trying to fly through everything. You know what I'm saying? Do all that, and yeah. But directional air roll is super important, and it helps with your mechanics a lot. Everything else should be fairly simple. Nothing really. I'm just gonna scroll through it if you guys want to copy or see something different. Nothing complicated at all. Up next, we have the interference. All of this is going to be default except for the nameplate scale. Okay, this is completely personal preference. I have bad depth perception, I feel like, and my eyesight, whatever reason. So my nameplate scale I put to max. It just helps me the most. It's what I've been playing on, to be honest, so it's just normal. But yeah, this, obviously, you make it lower, the nameplates in your game will get smaller. So it's just, that is complete personal preference. All this is kind of just stuff we don't really care about. Colorblind mode, again, self-explanatory. You could have notifications on. You could have different colored boosts in the bottom right. Ball cam indicator, you definitely want these on. And yeah, and for the last, we have video. Obviously, you most likely want to be playing 1920 by 1080 full screen. Don't really want vertical sync on. There's a lot to get into it, but just trust me on this one. You don't want it on. Anti-aliasing, again, don't want it on. Render quality, definitely high quality, custom, and then frames per second. This is dependent on your monitor. I recommend to cap it at whatever your hertz is. So if you have 60, 144, 144, etc., 240, you know, and it goes on. But yeah, definitely I would say do whatever is recommended, because uncapped is could be a little bit wonky, I know. So just the capped, you know, makes the game run as smooth as possible. Texture decal, this is all preference. I use high quality. I feel like a lot of people do, or high performance. And then if you come to world detail, high quality, if you guys can't tell, it changes the grass. So now my wheels get a little bit covered, to where before, if I put this back on performance, my wheels are not covered at all. So that is preference. It definitely looks better with high quality, right? The game looks a little bit cleaner. But for me, I think, you know, I don't choose looks over how clean something might look. So I think performance looks clean. Particle detail, again, you could try it out, but performance the best. Effect intensity, this is your choice. Either or, it doesn't really matter. And then for all these options, these are all ones you guys should test. I like, as pros all do, you like all these off, because like motion blur, weather effects, shadows, usually bloom, light shafts, this is all extra stuff that might look the game a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, but it's gonna honestly be more distractions. I would say high quality shaders is honestly one of the ones you really could turn on, because it doesn't really change much about the game, but it definitely, on a lot of maps, it adds a little more pop that just looks a little bit nicer, and it's not, you know, messing with your eyes like a bright light would do with light shafts or you know, lens flares. So yeah, that's gonna do it for the pro settings 2024. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I gave you guys some good insight. Make sure to go slap some of these on. Tell me about it. Tell me how you guys are gonna improve. Jump to SSL, because that's what we do around here. That's what we do. Now, please like and comment, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Subscribe, and peace.